Hello, everyone. Hello. And welcome to the special edition of the Ann Lynn Show with, I'm Ann.
I'm Lynn.
And we have
I'm Glenda
from
Grace and Fire.
And so today is a very special day. The month of May is a very special month.
Yes.
And we're going to get into it right now with Glenda. Take it off.
This is awesome. Well, today is it is Military Spouse Appreciation Day. So yay! So thank you to all of our military spouses, current and former, for your service and sacrifice to our country and our nation. And that's exactly what this show is going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate each of you guys.
That's right.
All three of us have been military spouses. And one of us, not naming anybody, was actually served in the service of our country, was a soldier.
I was.
She wore combat boots.
Yes, I did. And proudly.
You did. But today is the Spouses Day to celebrate because military spouses, oh my goodness, are so important, have special needs, different kinds of needs.
Oh yeah.
It's well, take it off, Glenda.
Well,
and Lynn has
let Lynn you go first.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say that May is National Military Appreciation Month, the whole month. And today we are recognizing military spouse appreciation. And let me just read a short paragraph. It says, along with the tremendous strength and patriotism they have, military spouses have been noted to endure job losses, adjustments to new environments, and having to learn new survival skills with the frequent and often unexpected developments that sometimes require them to move halfway across the country or even the world together with their serviceman spouse. So I'm telling you, my hat's off to you today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And finish on. When did this start to begin?
Well, Glenda's going to tell when it was recognized by Congress, but I have that it was first observed in 1984 when President Ronald Reagan recognized the importance of spousal commitment to the readiness and well-being of military members with Proclamation 5184 dated April 17th, 1984. But it says shortly thereafter, Glenda.
So every May since 1999, when Congress officially made it a part of Military Spouse Appreciation Month, military spouses are recognized. It's always on the Friday before Mother's Day. It's our chance to honor the commitment and sacrifice of the ones who stand behind those in uniform. The Department of Defense joined suit in honoring military spouses by distinguishing the Friday before Mother's Day as the official Military Spouse Appreciation Day.
Yay.
Yes. And we've all three been there, and we all can relate.
Yes, we can.
with that special day. So thank you to Congress for making
Yes.
that proclamation, because military spouses really, oh my, they are so extremely, extremely important,
Yes.
and they need support, and they,
Yes, they do.
the support of others. And you do extra support for your full-time caregiver.
Yes.
And yep, she's got her
Yeah.
caregiver on. And so her precious husband was, got hurt in the line of active duty. And
Yes.
there's, the caregiver behind the service member is so, their life is turned upside down.
Hmm.
It's all new. And you have to support your spouse. You're trying to find new resources for them, for yourself, taking care of yourself, because
Hmm.
if you aren't in well and in good health, you can't help your service member, can you?
Right.
No.
And the children that are in the
And the
home.
children, yes,
Yeah.
and there is what, a children's
Yes.
appreciation.
So
Well.
April
Mhm.
was month of the military child. So the entire month was dedicated in supporting military children.
Mhm.
And I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but we actually have every month in April, there's one day set aside where we purple up for military children,
Wow.
which means you wear purple in honor of our military children. Purple was chosen because if you were to blend all of the colors of the branches of the military, you would end up with purple, is the
Oh,
saying.
that's
Hmm.
awesome. Well,
Yep.
and I know you would know that, having been and are a spouse of a military, and you
And
were a military child.
I
yes.
was. I
Yes.
So
was. I
yeah,
was.
you were a military. They call it military brat, but
Yep.
you
Yep.
were not a brat. But
Well,
you were, but you were
yeah.
my sweet baby that was born across the way out in the Pacific, in the
Yes.
big pink hospital on the island of Oahu.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago now.
Yes.
It really was. It really was.
It was, but
And it's
yes,
called military brat. And so, for those who are not associated with the military and who are watching today's program, I want to address the term military brat. It sounds awful and it sounds horrible, but actually, the term military brat is a term of endearment. It's
yeah,
just something that is said, and when a military brat hears, "Hey, you're a military brat,"
yeah.
it's like,
It's
"Yes,
like
I am. Yes,
Yeah.
immediate connection,
I am. Yes."
immediate connection.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah. And
connection.
you just know what you've been through. And
Yes,
military
many
brats
moons.
can connect with other military brats, and you don't have to explain yourselves. You know
You
how
just
you grew
know.
up in the
You
military,
get each
and
other.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just get each other. So
Yes, you do.
don't,
Right.
please don't look at the term military brat and be think that we're being horrible or anything. That actually is a
Right.
real term, and it is a term of endearment. So yeah,
Endearment. The
yeah.
the other thing is, now one thing I found, the spouses that I came across in my time as a military spouse, they either liked it or
Yes.
they hated it. It
Mhm.
was very few people in between that were, kind of on the fence. But I knew, and if the spouse didn't like the lifestyle change they've just had, they don't support their service member, and sometimes those marriages just don't work out.
Mm.
And or it could be extremely rocky road,
Yeah.
because I mean, I can talk about you and me, Glenda, our experience, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, from from where I left home as a young bride, I mean, I was like, far away from my family, my mom and dad. I mean, so probably about 8,000 miles away. And back in 1970 something, many moons ago, you know, um, I was I was lonely, I'm away
Mhm.
from home, and
Right.
and so and so now then you came into the picture. I was like, maybe we need one of those things. Maybe that will fill my life. Oh my gosh, did you ever?
Oh,
you
she
you
filled
gave me you
mine
filled
too.
my life and you gave me purpose, and then I was able to, while we were in the, you gotta make do where you are. Well, I went to a ladies meeting one time, and it was bloom where you're planted, bloom where
Yes.
you're planted.
Mhm.
That's really
Mhm.
important in a military
Yes.
setting. For the wife or husband, you
Mhm.
bloom where you are at, and that means finding resources, talking to people. And do you know what I found? My experience with other spouses then was fabulous, because we would get together at each other's houses. We took care of each other's kids. We
Mhm.
made, cookies and cakes and shared with each other. And we had Tupperware parties. And I mean, it was just like in our little community. And I
Yes.
want to say, too, very diverse. And it was fabulous.
Mhm.
It was
Absolutely.
fabulous. For me, it was, I mean, the being the spouse of a military was an experience that I that part I treasure.
Mhm.
I do, because I got to go different places. I had all kinds of experiences. Some of them weren't very good, I'll be honest with you, but I have the good memories are really good.
Mhm.
And out of those memories, I have 3 little babies, and
Yes.
so it's all good. That's all.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
military spouses need extra support.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
just briefly, Lynn was
Yes.
a military service member
Mhm.
who got married, and you were doing double time. You were the spouse of a military active. You were
Yes.
active yourself.
Right. Yes. And then I also had a child while I was active duty. And
Yes.
so, and still, still did everything up until just prior to our son's birth. I was very active and
Yeah, they keep you moving, don't they?
they keep you moving. They sure kept me moving, but I was that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Would you like me to, since May is National Military Appreciation Month, would you like me to list a few more of May dates for the military this month?
Sure. Go
All right.
ahead.
Well, we just missed May 1st. It is Silver Star Banner Day, and it's per congressional resolution. It is an official day to honor wounded, ill, and injured veterans. And that was on, I do believe, a Sunday. And that was Silver Star Banner Day. Today, May 6th, Military Spouse Appreciation Day. May 13th, Children of Fallen Patriots Day.
Oh.
Mhm.
A day
Hmm.
to honor the children left behind by the brave men and women who gave their lives while defending our freedom.
Yeah. And I actually know um, several
I was going to say,
children.
you do know several,
I
don't you?
actually
Yes,
do. I actually do.
Mhm.
And then there's an organization called TAPS, TAPS,
Yes.
and they fly these children into Washington D.C. and they take them all over Washington D.C. And into Arlington National Cemetery and different places. Some and many of their parents are actually buried at Arlington. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
one of the most humbling experiences to actually witness. I was invited to the Marines in a Marines event, and the kids from TAPS all came in to this event, and I will never forget that moment, seeing all those kids walking in and knowing exactly that each child, what that represented was that a parent that they had lost their life in service for our country.
yes.
And I tell you, the group that I was with, I was with other caregivers, and not any of us. We know what this service to our country means, and there wasn't a dry eye.
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, it's fine. You know, the children's they grow up in this, and it's an adjustment, because you know they grow up and they'll be someplace for a few years, and then you get orders to go to a different base, and so you have to pick up and they have to leave their friends, you know, and then their dad or mom gets sent somewhere, and then that dad or mom may not come back.
Right.
And I know that it's a very big unknown when you send your service person off to overseas deployment. It's a very much unknown, especially I would say now.
Yes,
Mm.
And
absolutely.
and we've had a lot of conflicts in the past, and
Yes,
a lot of them did not come back through the years with all the
No.
different
through all the wars.
times. So
Uh, well, then I'll continue. May 21st coming up
Yes.
mhm.
is Armed Forces Day.
Yes.
Yes.
This is observed on the third Saturday every May. This is a day dedicated to paying tribute to men and women currently serving in the U.S. Armed Forces.
And let
This
me
is
tell
the
you,
day
they
that you walk
celebrate
up and tell them thank you.
Yes.
they celebrate big on the
Oh,
bases,
Oh,
don't they?
yes.
I
oh
remember
Yes.
those. That and
Yeah.
4th of July are like the
4th
Yeah.
of
best
July. Yep.
events to go to
Yes.
on a base. They're
Yeah.
just
Yes.
like fabulous. And
Well, I'll tell you something. It's kind of special to be on a base when they're having their birthday, the birthday year. The birthday.
Yeah.
I've been on one when it was the Army birthday, and that's exciting too. So
I
And the
went
Air
to
Force is 75 years this year. Go
yeah.
Big Blue. Go Big Blue. Oh, I'm sorry. Go Big Blue. Go. I'm sorry. Happy birthday, U.S. Air Force.
well, I have to like toot my horn. I attended the Army's 100 and let's see, it was 1976 because you were a little baby, and it was the Army's birthday. I want to say
Yes.
125.
We just need to look it up. I think.
Yeah, I've forgotten. It's been so long, I've forgotten. But I went to the military ball, and I had to go get a formal dress, and I mean, that was my first, and I'm meeting all the
Yes.
off, generals and all the big shots. That was swanky. So yeah.
And then coming up, Memorial Day
No, let's
is
see.
May 30th.
Yeah.
And
It
we
was the 200 year of it.
I started
Army.
to say, I
It
think
was
yeah,
a 200 year. Yeah.
1770. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 1776, 1976. It was the 200
Well,
year
Memorial
anniversary
Day
ball. Yeah, Army.
is a solemn occasion. This is a solemn occasion to honor the men
Yes.
and women who died while serving in the military.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful that in cemeteries across the nation, that VFWs, and I don't want to leave anyone out, but other
American
groups.
Legion.
Pardon?
American Legion.
Thank you.
American Legion.
I didn't want that they will go and they will put flags on the service members, on all though, which is kind of nice. Our father receives one each year.
Yeah. And they'll put the flag on, and then they will actually say that service member's name out loud as they're putting the flag in. So that way that they are not forgotten, that their name is actually spoken. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not. But
Because that's so awesome, because there's probably a lot of those service members, they've been gone a long time.
oh yes,
And their whole family could be gone by now.
Absolutely.
oh definitely.
And so that's wonderful that their name is read out loud. They're not forgotten. We don't forget, and we don't leave behind.
No.
Right.
It's important. It's very important. So, but
And so if you also, if you see coins on headstones,
Yes, I do.
they mean different things too. So I know that their grandpa has had them on his headstone, and
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what they are. I'm actually just doing a quick Google search because
Okay, 'cause
I
I
don't
know
remember.
There's the dimes, and then I've seen pennies, so I'm not sure either.
So
I
some-
do. I
Mhm.
leave them there though. I do not remove those. Just so
Don't
you know.
remove them.
I do
Yeah.
not.
So each coin means something different. Like they knew, I'm sorry, I can't seem to find it right off the top of my head. But like like the penny means something like one means I'm here to honor you. I don't know you, but I'm here to honor you. One
Oh,
means I
wow.
knew you. And then another one means I served with you.
Oh,
So you can look that up online too. I'm
I
so
will.
sorry. I don't remember what each of them mean. I had to look that up myself. When I went to Arlington, that's where I actually learned about it because I didn't know. I went to Section 6 looking for some friends of friends to take pictures to send back to friends that had lost in combat.
Yes.
And so I didn't know what the coins on the headstones mean. I mean, I'm a military spouse, but I didn't know. I mean, military
Right.
spouses don't know everything. And
Sure.
so a friend of mine was actually with me and she was explaining that to me. So they mean something different. And I noticed that Grandpa has had some on his
Yes.
headstone.
And
So
I
just
just
leave them.
I
Leave
leave them
them.
Yeah.
there. I
Yeah,
do
that's
want
an
to say
honor.
this, Glenda. I know that you mentioned being there when the young children or the children were there.
Yeah.
Also, your son, at his own expense, he accompanied. Can you tell us about now someone out there, if you have a loved one that was in the military and needs to visit, can you tell us about visiting Washington, D.C. and how
Yeah.
they can get on these flights?
So my son was the youngest one to do this for our local chapter at the time. I don't know if it's current or not, but he actually did an honor flight,
Yeah.
which they take the World War II, Vietnam, and Korean War veterans to their memorials to actually see them. So my son accompanied a Vietnam veteran
Yes.
and assisted him throughout the entire day, made sure that he was comfortable and happy. And if he needed anything, my
Mhm.
son went out and, went out and got it, made sure he had his lunch and, anytime he needed a drink, whatever, he just was there to support him. But we
Yes.
took my son to the airport like at the crack of dawn and the news media was there. And my son is a very private person. So he's not
Is.
into the news or anything. He just did it because he wanted to do it out of the goodness of his
Right.
heart. But the news media gets involved. It's a big send off. And then when the planes land at the airport in DC, his particular one, I think that's with every single one, the fire department gets out and then they spray the planes down like a shower. So that was kind of cool,
Yeah.
so it was a
Yeah.
real big welcome. And these veterans were just like thinking they were rock stars. And
Yeah.
when he got off the plane, there were people singing and welcoming them and giving them gifts. I mean, the veterans, not my
Yes.
son. It
No.
was
Right.
for the veterans.
Yes.
And then when they got home, we all showed up with signs of welcome home, thank you for your service. The news media was there, welcome these veterans and the helpers out. My son was 16 years old at that
Yes.
time.
And he worked and earned his money for his airline
Yes,
ticket.
because he had to pay $500 to do this, so he took a second job.
Yes.
He was in high school. He did not want any money from us because we were going to pay for this as his parents. I was so proud of my son. And he said, no, he did this on his own. And, it's something I'm still so proud of to this day. And when I worked with his school, I didn't know because it was a school day. I didn't know if they were going to, like it was an excused absence.
Right.
And I said, but my son is going to miss this day because you can't get this kind of education sitting in a classroom. I'm sorry, and the counselor and the principal, they were all on board and they're like, no, he's going to be excused because this is pretty awesome because one of his second jobs was as a janitor at his local high school.
Yes.
So, and they knew what he was doing. So he just did it out of the goodness of his heart, didn't want any attention to this, but when he got home, he said that was the best thing he had ever done. And just really enjoyed being with that veteran. And that veteran touched my son's life forever. So
Well, he learned a lot from him, didn't he?
He did. He did.
I mean, he got firsthand knowledge and
Knowledge.
from that gentleman
Yes, he did.
of his military experience and
He did.
And,
service.
He's a my son is a military brat, obviously. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
he was born into the military. I have
He was.
3 children that I'm extremely proud of. They were
Yes.
all 3 born into the military. They're all 3 doing great things in life, and I couldn't be, as a mother, so proud of each of
I
these
know. I
kids.
love each one of them so much.
yes, I do.
I do. And but you know, he still learned, he still got out, and he still did this, and he served. And the other thing that this same son had done also, for his, he was in Boy Scouts, and
Yes.
he had an Eagle Scout project. There is a cemetery that was forgotten, completely, like, is a horrible story behind it. I mean, just we can go into it, but that's a whole nother subject.
But it was in very bad disrepair.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a nonprofit has come in with the local university overseeing this nonprofit. So, I mean, there's a lot of, as I share this story, know that there's a lot of permits through the state and with the university involved. Yes. Okay. So don't just go do this. I mean, there has to be permits. But
Right.
one of the things that they do is restorations, because these plots and the markers have all sunken into the ground.
Yeah.
And my son's Eagle project was actually to look for veterans' headstones. Specifically, he was looking for the veterans whose headstones or footstones have sunken into the ground and you can no longer find them. So he had to go out and look for them, and with the team actually lift them up and then reset them. And that way family members, or just to honor the veteran,
Right.
they could find it. You know what I mean? You could put it up on findagrave.com. And so that was kind of how we went ahead and paid it forward. So that way in future years, you know, if a family member's doing a genealogy, that they could see their loved ones, veterans markers. But he specifically went looking for veterans.
That is just.
But they restored whatever they came across. I mean,
the nonprofit does everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just veterans, but my
Right.
son Eagle project was
specific for this.
And so you had 2 Eagle Scouts.
I do. I have 2 Eagle Scouts.
2 Eagle Scouts. So them boys really went all the way, as high as they could go with the Boy Scouts. I'm so proud of them.
I am very proud.
What was the organization that, if you wanted to participate in a group that going to Washington, D.C., because I know we have a local group here that just went. I believe they just went and got back.
Honor flight.
An honor flight. And because I saw pictures on Facebook of this group, our local group here.
Right.
But how do you get in contact? Who would you contact?
So there's chapters all across the United States of honor flights. So you'll just look up for your honor flight and then type in like your local area and see what the names of the local chapter is.
Okay.
But honor flight is the main nonprofit, and then there's just different chapters. So we just looked up for our local chapter, and it just so happens that our local chapter is not that far from my house. So I was able to tap into that as a really good resource. Mm-hmm. And then we were introduced to honor flight at my husband's last duty station. My husband actually went and welcomed veterans home while he was on active duty. My husband did that. Right. Part of his volunteering.
So he participated in one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we knew about honor flight from that. And to know that we had a local chapter in our new location, it was fantastic. So and I really recommend it, because to see these veterans that had never had the funds to go out, or they live so far away and they just have not seen their memorial, to actually go out and to see it, or, you know, is just incredible. But from my end of it, you know, to welcome them home, you know, the Vietnam era, they were spat on, they were not welcomed home. I cannot imagine my husband not being welcomed home. I just cannot.
Right.
And it's because of the Vietnam era veterans that my husband was welcomed home the way he was. And so I thank Vietnam because of what they went through, which was horrific. But for them to go out to go see their memorial and to come home and to hear welcome home, you know, that means so much. So many who felt so like forgotten, you know, and you see them kind of like sit up and feel like, okay, my country appreciates what I did for my country. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Right.
Like, my
Yes.
service matters.
Somebody
My
really
service
cared.
matters.
Yeah, somebody cares.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So
And that
you-
is so important to so many people. It's more than just saying thank you. It's just, look, it's honoring your service because you
Right.
So
matter.
there may be
And-
someone out here that would want to accompany someone on an honor flight, or maybe, I don't know, but it's perhaps you'd want to support them in some way, right?
I'm
Right.
sure they have
At least
where you
the
could
welcome,
donate to send somebody, and that
Or-
might be
You
something.
can donate money to honor
Okay.
flight. They'll gladly take the support. So yeah, for
Uh-huh.
sure.
and you
I
can
am
do
not affiliated with them, but I
No,
do know
we're
that they will take. They
and
will
you
take.
might
the
be at
support.
the airport and be part of that group.
Show up
that
with a
welcome.
sign and say, "Welcome home."
Yeah, welcome
Yeah.
Welcome
home.
home.
Yeah, just find out when they're flying in. It'll be late at night because it's a long day
It
for
is.
all
They
of
have
them.
a long
It's an
day.
all-day event.
Yeah,
It's an
it's
all
just
day.
a quick flight up and a quick flight back. And well, I say that, but there could be flights coming in from all over the country.
Yes.
Mhm.
That may be a little longer, maybe a
Yes,
one night
absolutely.
stay. But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
anyhow, it's a fabulous program,
Mhm.
honor flights. So if
Yes.
you are able to, or you want to participate, or you want to help someone else go, it'd be I think teenagers, fabulous
Yeah, yes.
experience for them.
I
It might
highly
be their
recommend it.
very first airplane ride for some of them.
I highly
And
recommend it.
yeah,
Mhm.
and what a thing to do. And so were there other days, specific days, Lynn?
No,
Did
but
we get through them all?
I just wanted to say though, especially at Memorial Day, we associate that usually with the first, like, summer and
First
family
days?
get-togethers and
Yeah.
things like that, and there's
Picnics
nothing
and
wrong with that,
barbecues? No.
right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We
No,
should,
of course not.
but remember that it actually is a solemn occasion to honor the men and women who died while serving in the military, and that's why we have freedom today, because of those that remember. Armed Forces Day is to say thank you to those currently serving. And then we come just a few days later, from the 21st to the 30th, and we are at Memorial Day. So we remember those who sacrificed the ultimate for us.
And then I also want to say we want to honor today on this program the wounded soldiers.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because this has affected our family and my daughter's family directly.
Mhm.
And being a full-time caregiver is a lot. And we love her. I mean, my son-in-law. He's my son. And I wish that others knew what he was like before. He was so full of life. And there's so many that come back missing all their limbs, terrible brain injuries, horrible conditions. And there is support. There's organizations that you can reach out to, and they start connecting you. I do think right away, don't they? With some
Yeah.
depends on your injury, right? I mean, you know what I'm
Well,
saying.
right. So for me, do you want me to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, we'll share a little bit before we go.
Okay. So for me, when my husband came back, we were obviously Air Force, right? So the Air Force has a fantastic Air Force Wounded Warrior Caregiver Program, which is the shirt I'm rocking because I truly believe in AFW too. They were my lifeline and walked me through everything. As a military spouse, they do not give you training on what it means to be a caregiver. I was a military spouse for 16 years. And I was what was called a key spouse as well. And that meant that I took care of military families whenever their loved ones deployed. I also checked in on the parents of the military airmen who had deployed to make sure that they were connecting and communicating. It was kind of a scary call for the parents because they didn't know who I was calling to give them the ultimate call,
Yes.
but that was not my job. That is a
No.
job for a chaplain. So if you ever get a call from a key spouse, don't be worried. That is
Right.
just us doing our job to make sure that you are being connected with your airmen and that you are getting updates. So anyhow, during my training to be a key spouse, and it still is current from what I'm hearing, they do not teach you what it means to be a caregiver. They don't warn you on how to deal with wounded warriors. They teach you nothing, in at least in the Air Force. It's kind of, at the time that this was happening, it was a little bit of a voodoo subject. So when my husband came back, I was put in with AFW 2, Air Force Wounded Warrior. The 2 is 2 W's. And the services that they provided for my husband for the transition out during his medical board was phenomenal. But they also put me in contact with organizations like Wounded Warrior Project. So I connected with them during our transition, which was great. It helped us connect with others in our area. At the time, I got to do some caregiver retreats. They don't do those anymore with Wounded Warrior Project, at least at the timing of this being filmed.
Yes.
I've not seen anything, but they do things with caregivers. So I highly recommend checking out Wounded Warrior Project for that. It is separate of Air Force Wounded Warrior. Air Force Wounded Warrior is a Department of Defense, as is Army Wounded Warrior, Marine Wounded Warrior, Navy Wounded Warrior. They are all part of the Department of Defense. That's a federal. Wounded Warrior Project is a nonprofit. So I've connected with them. I've also connected with the Independence Fund. They're another wonderful nonprofit. They help people whose veterans are 100% service connected. And that is for all eras of caregiver, or actually veterans and their caregivers. So I check their services out too.
I also want to bring up the fact that your husband was able to get a service animal. And there's wonderful organizations that people can reach out to.
Yes.
They really bring a sense of healing. And then they also, he's necessary for balance, walking and balance. He keeps them, he keeps them walking, not walking into a wall or anything. He's his eyes and ears.
And they're just good little support,
they're there.
He's a mobility assist and medical alert is what his duties are.
Right. And I like how you explained one time when you see a service dog or, and it says right on them, do not pet. They're working. It's like a working police dog. You don't mess with a police dog. But but you said to me one time, you said, Mom, you got to think of the dog as a wheelchair or an oxygen tank. They're a necessary piece of equipment. And now when he's off duty, he's just like he's the big dog running the house. He's like the hound dog at home.
Yeah.
But you throw the vest on and he's in working mode and he knows it. And he, and so when you do see an animal out, try to think of it like a wheelchair.
Right.
You're not going to walk up to the wheelchair and say, "Oh, nice wheelchair." You're not going to do that.
No.
So try to think of the working service animals as medical equipment. And I think that will help that helps to understand. Part of the problem is there is a disconnect between civilians and like military, the military families. There's a bit of a disconnect because, and just regular people, outside of the military who have service animals, you have to understand that they have a purpose and there's a reason why they have these animals. And so have some respect and keep your distance, look from afar, and you know what I mean? Now, should somebody say, yes, you can approach, if they see you looking and they go, would you like to approach? Then that's a little different.
They're welcoming you there.
They're welcoming. You want to be welcome. So otherwise, just take a glance and move on. Seriously, right?
Admire from a distance.
Pardon
I
me?
admire from a distance.
Yeah, yeah, and
You know,
that
I don't pet
right,
the dog when, you know, and he comes home with me, the service dog that we have in our home. I don't pet him when he's got his vest on unless I
right,
have to handle him for whatever reason.
Right.
yeah.
I don't
Well, he's
even,
working.
I
He's
don't,
working.
because I want all eyes on him, because if I pet
Yes,
him, he is
Yes.
being distracted from his job, and I
Yes.
need him to pay attention to my husband, and he
right.
is key on, and
Yes,
it is an incredible thing to watch, and
Right.
I get to enjoy seeing him work. I have watched him like prevent so many falls. I have actually seen him like calm my husband down he has
Yeah.
PTSD, and so
Yeah.
I've seen him bring him back from his deployment. Like, he'll just do his thing, and it's like, okay, you are better than me, little boy. I'm so proud of you. But
Yes.
So
it is
what
a really neat thing to see. He has moved doctors out of the way. He's like, move it, you know. This dog
he's
commands the room.
he's yeah. So what are the names of you? Can you think of names of
Canines
the
for Warriors is
parts?
where we got the
Okay.
dog.
Say it again.
Canines for Warriors
And
is
they are
where we
out
got
of Florida, aren't they?
they're the
Canines for Warriors. And
they're the United States largest service dog organization, and they help our veterans. So I highly recommend them. And then I am an Elizabeth Dole Fellow alumnus.
Yeah.
I represented my state for 2 years, and so now am not a current Dole Fellow. I'm an alumnus. I still am part of the foundation. We advocate for military and veteran caregivers. There are 5.5 million of us across the nation. Of that, there are 1.1 million post 9/11, which is my era that they like to consider me, but really I'm post and pre 9/11 because my husband actually was in the service before 9/11.
Yes.
right.
And we are working with nonprofits, and we're working with Congress. We work with just businesses trying to get employment for caregivers, you know, like just really doing a whole lot of advocacy. We work with churches too. So I've seen a huge change. I became a Dole Fellow in 2014, and I've seen such a movement in our nation with a focus on our caregivers. And when I first became one, I really didn't identify as a caregiver. I was first and foremost my husband's spouse, and I was not about to let him fall by the wayside, because I've known my husband since I was 4 years old, and taking care of him and making sure that he was okay and trying to keep our family together was like key number one for me. So when I became a fellow and started advocating and sharing my story, people started noticing. But it's not just my story. We need caregivers from everybody, from every area, from every era, from every part of the nation, every walk of life. I mean, we need everybody to speak up, because that's how we get change. It's not just Glenda's story, or not just Peggy Sue's story, or John's story, or, you know,
And there's
whatever.
another type of
Everybody.
caregiver that I think gets left behind, and that is if you are caring for an elderly parent or sibling.
Right.
Right.
Well, another one is children of military.
Yes.
Staying with our military theme, our children.
Yes.
Our children are forgotten many times. So
and
they
have
grow up in these homes too.
Yeah, and so they have an extra struggle. I think they're trying to be a kid, right? They want to be a kid, but yet they have a parent that has special needs now. So that may make demands on their little social lives and stuff. So they're trying to figure this out in their head. And when you're a teenager, or younger, that's a lot to take in and analyze, in your brain, because you're still growing and maturing. And then you have, you feel, all kinds, I'm sure all kinds of feelings that, kids feel.
Right.
So, I mean, this is such a multi-complex situation that we have going on. And it's like in your case, it's not unusual. I mean, there's millions of people in your shoes.
Yes.
So today,
before we go, because of military spouse.
Yes.
You know you're a military spouse if you try to go to the grocery store on Monday.
Yes, the commissary is closed on Monday. Yes, and if that is the last day of the month and you only get paid on the last day of the month, because you get it on the last day of the month, because back when you were little and before, they got paper checks, on the
Oh yeah,
last
we
day
got
of
them
the
at the
month.
beginning of my husband's service. It was paper checks in the
Well, we
beginning.
had
I
paper
remember
checks.
that.
So
I
it
remember
was
that.
like, and I'm sure
Mhm.
Lynn can relate, we had feast or famine. So about the first 2.5 weeks, we're like, ooh, we got all these goodies. And like by the last few days, you're looking through your cupboard,
Yeah.
what can we have for dinner or what can I eat for the next couple of days? And so maybe I think that's probably where I started this, I need to be prepared for all these different
Yes,
situations
I think
and
so.
fill my cupboards because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you go without and you're 8,000 miles away from home, and I'm not about to make a phone call for $30 back then,
Yeah, it was
to my
very
mom and go,
expensive.
and Dad, can you send me money? That won't get there for 2 weeks.
Right.
Right? So, I
Right.
mean, you have to learn to survive. And I
Yeah.
think you do. And you can have a wonderful life as a military spouse. I did.
I
And I
did.
know other people have, because it can be a wonderful life, but if you don't like it, it can be very miserable.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, but today on Military Spouse Appreciation
Appreciation.
Day, we
Right.
want to say thank you to all the spouses out there that you have
Yes.
supported your loved ones through
Yes.
all kinds of situations. And so today is just a brief thank you very much. We appreciate you. Right?
Yes.
We
Mwah.
send you love. We've been there. We've been in
And
your shoes.
yeah.
Lynn's been on both sides of
Yes.
this. And I want to say, hats off and salute to all of our military. We
Yes.
have a big military, we are personally a big military
Yeah.
family.
We
Lynn's
are.
husband, cameraman,
Yeah.
was in 2 services.
3.
3, yeah.
3.
And then
His sisters.
his
Yep.
sister served, and I know that my father-in-law, he was a merchant marine, and then my husband was in the army,
Yes.
and
So I mean,
And my
wow.
husband was Air Force,
yours was Air
Yes.
Force,
and
so
my
Lynn,
father-in-law was
Marine.
Army,
Yeah, we have
and your
Marine.
and my
mother-in-law,
mother-in-law was Army,
Yes,
our
she.
father was in the
and
army.
my grandfather. I have one that was in the Army, and then I have another grandfather that was in the Navy. My
Oh, and
husband
your
has
your
grandfather that was.
father-in-law,
Yeah, I said him. I
a
said him.
full. Oh, I want to say he's a veteran, full
He is.
Yes.
blown.
Yeah,
20 years and
no, he was
20,
3.
23.
23.
Okay.
Yes.
23 years. Oh yeah,
23
he
years.
served in the Army, and yeah, I
So-
mean, and a lot of us, just because the military, whether you're a spouse or you're active duty, when that time ends, does not mean you stop serving this country. We are
Right.
all still serving. We do not get on YouTube or social media and show how we're serving. We serve in private because we believe in taking care of our country. And so, you know what? Service doesn't end when it stops, does it, you guys? It continues
No,
on, correct?
right. You still want to
It's
do
just
what
in
you
your DNA.
It is. It gets in you.
It's a patriotic thing to do, and we do it in private, and I love it. And to see the joy, I mean, serving others, and it's amazing. And for me, I give back by being a mentor to other caregivers on a constant basis. I can't ever talk about how I do it because I've signed contracts on how, I'm not allowed to talk about that kind of stuff in details, but I can say that I am a mentor in the, with different caregivers. And I've been doing it since my husband got out of the service. And then I do things at the VA, just to pay it forward, I'll buy somebody's coffee or whatever, but nobody ever knows it's me. So if you're at the VA and somebody's paid for your coffee and I'm just zoomed by,
it could have been me.
Could have been because I do it. But anyhow, and I know, you know what, in the pastor's family, I mean, we've served. We served
Yeah.
our
We're a
communities.
serving family, and there are so many people watching right now that are also they.
Are.
You've been served. You've been helping others and serving others, and the spouses and the veterans. We just want to say
Parents.
thank you.
Right?
Yes.
We want to say
Yes.
thank you, and we really mean that. We really mean
You're
that.
part
We
of a
wanna-
special family,
You are.
and it's unique,
Yes.
and it's like none other. And
It is. It's
and
very special.
and
to
while
be
we
a-
have our rivalries, like I say, go Big Blue,
Yes.
go Big
Yes.
Blue,
Go Army.
go
Yeah.
Big Blue, go
And
blue.
cameraman
But
would
we are
cameraman
the
would say,
military.
"Hoorah!"
Oh yeah,
That's
you go.
what-
"Hurrah." Yeah.
But we are
Yeah.
family, but not just
We
we
are.
are family, but as a military, we are family for a
Yes.
reason.
And we love you and appreciate you.
Yes,
So
and
you wanna
we
say-
see you spouses. Thank you for your service and sacrifice
Thank
too.
you. Yes.
Yeah,
and
because we
children.
know what it's like to move away from our families and
We do.
try to create a new beginning. And then you're maybe in military quarters, maybe you're looking for an apartment off post or whatever. Been there, did that, both of it, And then I mean, it's so foreign to you. It's like
Mhm.
trying to learn a language. I think it's so foreign.
It is.
But you can do it, and you can have a good life, and
Yes.
you can serve others. And that's really what we want to do is, like Lynn and I, we want to be in the position of helping others and I know, and serving others even now.
Yeah.
So anyhow, one more time, thank you to everyone. We'll send them
Yes.
granny kisses because that's what Lynn and I do.
Oh, come on.
Mwah, mwah. And there's a granny out there
Yes.
and waiting, not
Yes.
much longer.
6 more weeks, and we're on baby watch.
Yay.
Yes. And I'm going to be a great granny.
And I'm going to be a great aunt.
Yeah.
right.
So we're excited. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for serving our country.
Yes.
You are much appreciated. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching our little special today. We hope you have a wonderful weekend and catch our new show next Friday right here on the official. It's
and
official Ann Lynn
Lynn
Show. And thank you, Glenda from
Thank
Grace
you.
and Fire.
Thank
Hello.
Another great growing channel. You have to go check
Yes.
her
Yes,
channel
come on
out.
over. Come on over.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you next time right here
Bye.
on the Ann Lynn Show. Mwah.
Mwah.
Bye. Bye-bye.